And you're all set to go?
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I saw a small group, which I love, nice and intimate. And I know we have a short amount of time together today, but I did want to offer up this time to let people get to know the program a little bit more, being that it is a newer major on campus. I believe it's still the most recent addition. And so for anyone that I haven't met, my name is Karen Archibee. I'm an academic planning coordinator with the Division of Extended Learning. And so I've been at Oswego for over 10 years now. It'll be coming up on 11 in just a couple months. So it's been a while. I was in enrollment management and admissions for pretty much all of my career here. But when this new major was coming on board, I switched gears and came to work with extended learning to help develop this and get this moving. And so it was approved and started last summer of 2022. So right now it's the only major that has a summer start for new admissions, new applicants. So it has been a little bit of a learning process, learning how to work through all that with registrars and admissions, deadlines, forms, all those types of things. But it's been really, really cool to see this program grow. So I'm going to talk about this major in two different lenses today. And of course, if you have any questions, I definitely want to leave time for any of that. But if you want to put them in the chat, I'll try to answer them as we go. But I'm going to talk about the IPS from the lens of a new student coming in, since it is, definitely growing in terms of the application. So then also talk about our current students and how it's impacted our current students who have maybe been struggling in their current major and then been able to switch to this, and it allows them to stay at the college and still get their bachelor's degree, since we do offer a bachelor's of arts and a bachelor's of science. So let's see which way. So just really quick, I wanted to share some data in the lens of students that are either coming back to school. They maybe were here before and then stopped out, and now they're considering re-enrolling. But the numbers are really staggering of how many students are out there that have some college but no degree. So the most recent data I found was from July of 21 through the Chronicle, and it was 40.4 million. Basically it's 1 in 5 people. So if you think about that in the context of who you know, it's pretty staggering. 18 or older is the average age in the US, more women than men, for where gender is known. So I wanted to note that. But really a good amount of the people were below the age of 25 when they dropped out. And so we're really, this major can really assist those types of students that have stopped out. And I've heard time and time again through conversations with folks is they know someone that's like, I've got all this credit and I don't know what to do with it. Or I really want to go back to school, but I don't know how I would. I don't know what I would go back for. And this major is really great for that. So here's some data. And again, in kind of a graph, a bar graph. So essentially, it's just talking about students who completed at least 2 years of college. The obviously highest number here is the community college percentages for those students that have attended a college, but then, did stop. And then traditional age students that returned. So you can see here that the most popular group here is the 20 to 24. And so when I first started working on this program, I was working with marketing communications, focusing on students that have stopped out from Oswego. And we were really pulling numbers from about the last 10 years of students that had been here and then stopped out. And according to the National Clearinghouse, hadn't gone anywhere else. And so what we started doing is reaching out to that population, and it was definitely tough. But last summer, that's what we focused on. I still hold information sessions for stop outs, and really there's a website for it now. Anyone can join those sessions to talk one-on-one with me about the potential opportunity of returning to the college, or if they've gone elsewhere, applying to the college for the first time and utilizing those credits that they've earned there. But I found that the most of the students I talked with were in this age range of people that had stopped out for whatever reason and were looking to come back. But I will say I definitely have gotten a good number of people in this 25 to 34 and even the 35 to 44. I have talked with people that are beyond 45 to 64 or in that age or older. And it is more of a struggle for them. It's also more for them wanting to have that feather in their cap, so to speak. They've maybe retired or they've got a fine job, they're happy, but they really want be able to show their kids or their grandkids that they can do that. They can reach those goals. And so, but it's harder because it, primarily is online right now. There's of course lots of classes, which I'll talk about. So there's a lot of availability on campus as well. But I find that right now we're getting more interest from outside the Oswego community to enroll into the online IPS, where I've been slowly gaining more students that are on campus that have maybe been on AP, or they're really struggling in their major and they really need to make a switch, or it's either they switch or they leave. And so that's what we're trying to avoid. And so really, this is kind of just talking about what it is. It's very much flexible. That's really the focus here, is to allow the maximum amount of transfer credits we can get in within the policy and within our rules here for Oswego, but then using those credits to the most the best way, I guess I should say, for those students. So we maximize the credits that come into the major itself, and then try to tap onto those other areas that we look at as advisors, making sure they're getting their upper division counts, and they take the 30 credits minimum at Oswego to get our degree. Those types of things is really what I spend a lot of time digging into on their audits and their degree works. So again, provides flexibility, focuses on topics that benefit professional journey. So a lot of the courses that have come on board to be offered to our IPS applicants and students focus on the future of work. They focus on the professional journey. And that's really where this IPS program came from and was developed by faculty. We have a really great small group of faculty that work with my dean, Jill Pippin, regarding the program and helping to develop that. And then of course they get me. I'm the one-on-one academic planning coordinator. Right now I'm the only advisor for IPS online or on campus. I'm also only coming into my second year. So it's still very new to me. I'm still learning, but the students I've been working with are great. They're giving me really great feedback on the program itself, how they found the transition to be, whether it's from changing majors or coming in as a new student. I've gotten feedback from on-campus students as well as online. So it's been really rewarding. So again, more information on the IPS program. We're using these keywords here: developing skills that are relevant to leadership, analyzing, interpreting data, communicating with diverse others, affecting change, understanding the rights and responsibilities and ethics. So it does leverage some really great and powerful pieces that they can learn from in a very flexible major in terms of courses that they can choose from and courses they can transfer in. So the major itself, and I'll go on to the catalog page, and some of you may have looked at this before, but I did want to just go over it. Essentially, there's 5 core classes with this major. They can choose either Com 210 or 211, which is more that public speaking area. IPS 320, which is the introduction and concepts to this major. So these are the only 2 courses right now with IPS prefixes with them. So 320 was created as the intro course, and then IPS 420 is the capstone, where they build an e-portfolio. After starting 320, they build their e-portfolio, and then they talk about it and really present it and fine tune it during 420 when they're wrapping up their time with us. Sandy Barganier right now is working with me very closely as kind of my faculty champion, if you will, assisting me with this, working with students, and really kind of leading the classes. And Lisa Glidden also assists too. So Management 261, and then we have CSC 102. So these courses everyone has to take no matter which area they want to choose. But many of these students have transferred in, new applicants have transferred in a good chunk of these courses. So again, we're helping them reach their goals, complete these courses. If they haven't done them, then I try to get them in right away when they start and get those knocked out of the way, or a lot of times they transfer these in. Then what we do is we look at their tracks. So there's essentially 5 key areas where students can really go into depth. If they're looking to do a Bachelor's of Arts program, it'd be 4 classes within their track. A BS would be 5 classes. And then 18 credits of these all have to be upper division. So I really am always looking at how many upper division classes do they have, and then which track are we focusing on. Right now, there's nowhere where they announce this. It's really just kind of conversation between us when we're planning their courses and looking at their degree works. There's the communication skills track, data analysis and project management, digital skills, self-management, and I like to say / leadership, because there are several courses offered in the track that are more focused in leadership. And then social structure and systems. So when I'm talking with a student, many times if they're new, and even some of the students that have transferred in internally, many times they're saying to me, I just want to do whatever track is going to get me to my bachelor's the fastest. And so that's kind of what we focus on there, is how DegreeWorks has transferred over those classes and what will work the best. Sometimes people have a specific desire. Maybe they want to do business, but the business courses are just not going to work for them in terms of like the mathematics that really holds people up. And so they'll do data analysis and project management because there's more business courses listed in that. Digital skills is obviously focused more on communication, media and the arts, computer skills, information science. Self-management is more some management courses. Health science courses, so learning about financial wellness, wellness and contemporary living, those types of courses. And then social structure and systems has more political science courses, gender and women's studies classes, things like that. So people that may be interested in law, they might go for the social structure and systems. So then you have your track, but then you also have to complete a number of courses that are offered within the tracks called the breadth. So you would take another 4 for a BA or another 5 classes for the BS, but we would pull specifically from these different areas for students to focus in. So they may focus in communication skills as their depth area or their track, but then they'll take classes out of the other 4 areas, depending on what they're looking for and what's available and offered, depending if they're online or on campus, they'll select those courses, and that will be part of their breadth work. So more of their elective space within their major. And then of course there's general electives as needed. So if they're needing to hit a number of upper division classes, we'll focus on that next. So we're still meeting those requirements per the college in their DegreeWorks, but these are really where we focus. So I thought this would be funny, because many of the times I find when I'm working with students is that they say to me, I haven't really had any complaints, to be honest, with IPS. The most complaints I get is like, it's so overwhelming. There's so many options, so many choices. Like, how do I decide what, it all sounds so cool and so interesting. So sometimes that's the problem, is that it is so much that it can be hard to narrow down. And plus I've really found that working with people across campus has been really eye-opening, because I've learned a lot about the courses that are being offered. More faculty are coming to me and saying, hey, we could offer this class into IPS now, those kinds of things. So we're building the program as we go. Classes are changing out, there are new classes coming in. So it's really exciting because there are so many options within this major, which again benefits the student. So I was going to click on these, but at first I wanted to see if anyone had any questions, because I want to make sure I answer anything that anyone has in mind. Obviously, you can go onto the website, you can click around and see what courses there are that are options as of right now. I do find that if a student really wants a class that's not in IPS and we're not listed in the restrictions with the course, professors and chairs seem very open to working with my students on letting them take that class if they meet the prereqs, especially if it falls into their interest. I've seen some really beneficial communications there, but I can always come back. And so this was one of our first students who joined us with IPS. She does it fully online. She actually walked in May, so we've already put out some graduates, which has been really exciting. So it really works. The program definitely does what students are coming here to do. And so she was really our poster child for so many different things, because she entrusted us to help her get her degree. She was a German major on campus before she switched to IPS. So she had another, I think, 3.5 years ahead of her. And when she switched over, she ended up finishing in about a year. So that was really great. Yes, Amy, she's great. So that is the whole thing, because again, 20-minute presentation, it's 3:14. I'm happy to entertain any questions anyone has. I can go back and show you kind of what's listed in terms of all the course availability. I can talk more specifics. But I really wanted to make sure people were aware on campus of the program, of the fact that I'm willing to work with anyone in terms of adding more courses to the curriculum. Sandy Barganier her and I are always chatting about the possibility of new opportunities, what benefits the student the most, deviations. So it's been great to work with Paul and help students that way, for courses that are applicable but weren't listed in the major as of right now. So does anyone have any questions at all? I know I raced through. I'll turn down his camera. Does that mean the question's coming? No. I'll just roll through this quick in case you haven't looked at it online. But essentially, here's those classes I was talking about. I say 5 core, but really, because CSE 102 is not listed here, but yes, that's the 5th one, but they would pick between the 2. And then 320 is always a class we get them added into right away for their first semester. And then we have down here all the tracks. So lots of options for our students. Also, an internship's available. So we do a lot of talking. I say we, but I do a lot of talking with my students about this opportunity, depending on what they're doing, if they're working full-time, where they are in their college career, if they're on campus or off. So an internship's offered for every track. So no matter what they're interested in, they can do an internship. This is that data analysis. Digital skills. Social structure. So there's a lot of offerings here. And I mean, these were the courses that came to fruition into this program, since it is very interdisciplinary, when the program was being built. And so, you know, like I said, I think there's definitely, I've been approached and been talking with different people across campus about adding more courses. And so Sandy and I are going to start developing that this summer. But there's really just more, there's just so much more room for growth within the program, more opportunity. And so it's really exciting to see the campus come together like this to assist both students that may have stepped out, want to come back, new transfer students that are looking to come and be fully online or be on campus. Maybe they really are hungry, they want to start in the summer. This doesn't hold them up from doing that. And then current students that maybe are just having a really hard time. This is a way that we can keep them here. So yeah, that's all I had for today. If anyone would want to meet and talk further or go more in depth, I'd be happy to. I'm so happy to chat with people about this program. I get really excited talking about it and different micro credentials. So if you want to learn more about that, we can chat too. So I also assist with that. But it was a pleasure, and thank you for allowing me to present on this, and hopefully we can all chat about it again soon. Or if you have a student, you know, or a friend that's looking to get their degree, I'm happy to talk with them.
Wonderful. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your day, everybody.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks, Karen.
Bye-bye.